Seattle Wilson, and we're talking about presidents today. So I asked 7 of my friends to name all the presidents they could, so I could do an accurate list of the least known presidents. Now, I'm gonna admit, I did think this would be a little biased, but after seeing some of the answers, I know it's not, because my favorite president was not named enough times, and he's gonna be one of the people on here. Let's start with Martin Van Buren. That guy with clown hair. He's the guy behind the Trail of Tears. He was Andrew Jackson's right-hand man and took over office after him because he was elected. But he's the guy that did the fucking Trail of Tears. He's the guy that put my people on the reservations. Fuck! I'm angry. John Tyler's next, President 10. He had 15 children, 2 of which were when he was in his 70s, and 2 of his grandchildren are still alive today. The next is Secretary. Now, he was a war general in the War of 1812, and he also is pretty much, I think, the only president who took his portrait in his army uniform. He also died on July 9th, 1850, and no one really knows why. They think it's a heart attack because they weren't really able to detect that at the time. Next is Millard Fillmore. Millard Fillmore is the first president born in the 1800s on January 7th, 1800. He was born 24 days after the death of the first president of the United States, George Washington. And he's the guy behind the Missouri Compromise. Maybe you've heard of it once or twice in your history class. Now, next up is the guy that fucking got rid of the Missouri Compromise and made the Civil War inevitable as fuck. Franklin motherfucking Pierce. At the time, he was the youngest person to be elected into office at 48, and he said, "I solemnly affirm," instead of "I solemnly swear" during his inauguration speech. Next, we're going to talk about Andrew Johnson. He was the first president to be impeached. Now, they almost removed him from office, but one person in the Congress was able to realize that they had no reason to. They just didn't really like him. Wow. He's also the only president to make his own clothes because he was a tailor. Alright, next we're going to go with Rutherford Burchard Hayes. Yeah, you heard that name right. Rutherford Burchard Hayes. He is. He's a literally 5th for Rutherford. Rutherford Burchard Hayes actually lost the popular vote. Yeah. And now no one remembers him. The next one I'm super duper pissed about because he's literally my favorite president. James Abram Garfield. Now, James Abram Garfield was assassinated on September 19th, 1881 by Charles Guiteau. He was actually shot, I think, in July, but, he took 2 months to die because, he was awesome. He was also ambidextrous. Yes, ambidextrous people, we're the best. We're better than you because we can write with both of our hands. Alright, the next one is Charles Allen Arthur. He didn't run for re-election even though he was very popular because he knew he was dying of kidney disease and he didn't want to die in office because his predecessor had died in office and that's how he became president. Okay, next, I'm really, really, really pissed about because he's the only president that served 2 non-consecutive terms. Stephen Grover Cleveland. Yeah, his first name was Stephen. I know. That's your fact. Fuck it. That is your fact. You fucking look him up. You need to learn more. Next is Benjamin Harrison. That guy. Now, he's the guy that separated Grover Cleveland's terms. He was actually a really bad fucking president. And, well, let's just say there was a recession. And let's just say it's 100% his fault. Alright. Next is William Howard Taft. The big fat guy. You know that story you've heard of the guy getting stuck in the bathtub? That's Taft. He actually did have to get a custom bathtub because he couldn't fit in the original White House one. Next is Warren Gamaliel Harding. That guy. Right there. He was a ravenous alcoholic like the guy right above him. Yeah, Ulysses, I'm calling you out. He died in office. Warren. Next is Calvin Coolidge, or what his first name actually is, John. Yeah. Next one is fucking Truman. How do you not know Truman? Atomic bomb. Truman dropped the A-bomb. Alright, next one. Dwight David Eisenhower. He was the first president of all 50 states. And last, but most certainly not least, because that's Franklin Pierce. He's an asshole. Just saying. James Earl Jimmy Carter, the peanut farm president. Jimmy Carter is actually the first president born in a hospital. Yeah, think about that. Less than 100 years ago, people were born not in hospitals, just with midwives. He was the first one born in a hospital. Now, I haven't actually looked this up, but he was born the same year as George Herbert Walker Bush. But George was born first, so I don't know if George was born in a hospital. I don't know if they mean, like, number-wise, because that means that, like, you know, Reagan could have also been born in a hospital many years, well, you know, 13 years earlier. But he was the first one born in a hospital. And now you've learned something. Thank you. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for making yourself slightly less fucking retarded.